Okay, when a close friend has a child, who should take more initiative to maintain the friendship? A woman wrote to the advice columnist at the Washington Post saying her best friend never visits now that she has a child. And a big part of it is that she feels guilty leaving her husband alone with the toddler. So, what do we think?
Well, that sounds like maybe we need to find out more about her if she feels guilty leaving the baby at home with the father. Like, that seems a little weird. Like, I would want her to be able to do that, you know, to be able to get out of the house occasionally.
Yep.
But I will say this story resonated with me because it reminded me of when all of my friends first started having kids. And so I'm guessing maybe early 30s, like you were saying, late 20s, early 30s. And this little baby always insisted on meeting up between 5 and 7. For me, that is the magic hour. You finish work, and then you meet up with someone before dinner, and then you can go home. Because this baby can't go home and then go back out. Oh, my God! Yeah. How am I supposed to fill my time with all that? I can't do it. And, of course, parents know, I think the hours between 5 and 7, that's next to impossible. It's feeding, it's bathing, it's putting a baby down. So they would always say, like, how about 8 or 8:30? And I'd be like, well, maybe. And I rarely did it. And so I was not a big part of my friends' lives while they were rearing their young kids. And I think I should have made more of an effort, quite frankly.
Yeah.
They needed me. Or maybe, I don't know if they needed me, but they needed something, like something more than like, no.
I mean, I like, listen, I don't know. When I think back to those early days,
Yeah, you've done this.
I did. I
Did
wouldn't
you
want-
want to?
But I wouldn't have wanted to go out at 8:30 either.
Yeah.
So I told myself, like, I still didn't want to do that. I do remember feeling super messed up.
Yeah.
Like, I was exhausted, I was sleep deprived, still in the toddler phase, was still breastfeeding, I was working here. So I didn't have a lot of time to collect myself. So I remember vividly a friend of mine, and it was winter time, she had a birthday party, just like a small intimate thing, something I would normally want to do. But it was across the city, so it was about a 30-minute drive. And I didn't want to go, but I went. And the whole time I was there, I wasn't really listening, I wasn't really paying attention. I just felt, and I think this was for me, I'm not saying this is true for everyone, I felt this pull of attachment. And all I wanted to do was be back home with my kid and my family. And I don't think that's what's going on in this case. I think there's more to your point. And I don't think it's true for everyone. I remember Melissa Grelo being here and having an exact opposite story. That
Like, get me out.
She was like, get me out. I want to go.
Mel was back at the club at 7 weeks.
She
or
was.
something.
I don't think it's a one-size-fits-all. I think, like, but you got to learn how to communicate it, like what your needs are. But maybe you don't always know, and you don't want to disappoint anyone. Mother guilt. It's
And maybe
thing.
the friends, like on both sides, maybe the friends of the mothers should be a little more outspoken, say, like, what do you need from me?
Absolutely.
You know, I will be here in any capacity.
Yeah,
you need.
absolutely. Be more of a help. And you know what? I had the same thinking because the friends who had their kids early in their 20s, it was the same thing. Like, we were clubbing, so if they had a baby, it was like, well, put the kid down and let's go. Like, I don't understand what's going on. And it was just like a lack of maturity and understanding. And I remember the day that I figured out how hard motherhood is. My cousin left me with her 2 children, who, by the way, were not babies. They could walk and talk and chew beef. Like, but still, by the end of that day, I've never been so exhausted in my life. And I was like, you do this every day? And I'm like, it was like an awakening of like, this is a really hard thing to do. But you know what? I also have a lot of girlfriends who had babies, and I saw something happen to them quietly, where there's an ideology that a lot of people share about what a mom does and where she goes and how she dresses, and they don't say it. It's just kind of right underneath the surface, very passive-aggressive. And I have one girlfriend I remember, her Portuguese husband and family were not in favor of her going out after she had a baby. And it was very much the, you're a mother now, you don't hang out with those girls, you're not going to the club. And we waited a year. She had a baby, and we were like, okay, we're gonna go out, we're gonna get you dressed up, we're gonna get you all drunk, let's do this. And we were so excited. She got her haircut, she got a new outfit, she looked amazing. We were so excited. We get to the club, we're having a good time, and it was so good to see our friend again, and her daughter was with her mom. And then her husband swung by, and we thought he just swung by just to say hi. He swung by, saw her, and was like, 2 seconds later, he called a cab for her, and she was on her way home.
No. Is she still with that guy?
She's still with
And
that
for
guy.
me, it was just like for all of us at the table, it was like, oh, because in her husband's eyes, and her mother agreed, this is not what you do. You're a mom now. You got to go home. You're not doing this. So I think that guilt that she's like, oh, my friend feels guilty. It's not just her guilt. It could be the people in her circle who are like, you don't do this anymore. You don't hang out with Andrea and her expensive shoes and her drinks. No. You come home. You're a mom now. And I think that happens to a lot of women, and we don't realize. So that pressure that we're putting on them, it's not just coming from them. It could also be coming from their family and their mate, right? So we gotta be careful.
I mean, I think friendship is friendship, no matter whether a person has a family or children or not. Everybody has to put in the effort. So in this situation, I agree. Like, why couldn't the person who doesn't have kids go travel to see the one who has kids?
Yeah.
Like, I think that it's very simple in this case. I do think, though, that friendship can change sometimes when people have kids. And sometimes they change because, in my experience, I have had friends who became parents and then they became a totally different person. You know, they used to like green and now they hate green. And they used to like, you know, to go back to Mel, they used to love partying or going to clubs, and then everything is like, all those habits are gone. And it was like a personality transplant. And in that case, how do you become friends with someone, or how do you stay friends with someone you don't recognize? Well, sometimes I have to recognize who you are.
But sometimes could it be temporary? Like, I do feel like there was a phase now looking back where I'm just like, I don't even know who I was. Like, do you wait?
The essence of you was still there. The essence of, you know, it's like this. I think that there have been, like, anecdotally, in my experience, I have had people in my life who had kids, and suddenly you couldn't talk to them about anything other than the kids.
Oh, that's true.
I see some knowing nods, because you can't say, don't worry, I'll say it for you and I'll get the heat for you, okay?
Yeah.
You know, and what happens is that you hang out with them and you spend an hour and a half talking about the children, and then you kind of want to switch. Right? So how about this show I'm watching? Everybody's talking about it, and then it's, I'm a mom now. I have no time to watch TV.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's kind of
And
true,
then,
though.
how are you,
It's
Lainey?
kind of true.
Well,
Like, you're
on that note, I'm going to take it to a comment that we got. I just lost that comment. So can you help me find it?
Yes, I love it.
Yeah, but so I've had the same thing. I've had
and then
the judgment,
right? And it's
I've
like,
had the judgment.
how's it going? Oh, it's on the screen. Okay, so Sherry says to us, goes, I wish we would all stop assuming that the childless woman is more flexible and less busy than the one with kids. Women are busy with careers, long and challenging work hours, aging parents, siblings, blah, 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 volunteer commitments. Everyone is busy. It's nice when we make time for each other. So, like, to me, but it's also, even, like, let's even just assume that, yes, moms are busier than non-moms. Even I get that, but it doesn't mean that you can't be interested in what everybody else is interested in. So, like, you know, there's that whole, I have no time to watch TV because I'm a mom now, or I'm a dad now, I have no time. Or it's that thing, like, how's work going for you, Lainey? Oh, wow, like, so many things are happening at work, and I'm struggling with this, and this, and work, I don't even remember what that is anymore, because my true job and the purpose of my life is to be a mother.
Yeah.
And in that sense, friendships are hard to maintain, because that person has just completely become another person. I can't relate to you anymore.
Yeah, and also making you feel guilty for not joining that and not participating in that lifestyle. I've had that too several times. I did like, my cousin's baby shower. I was leaving. I'm like, I gotta go. She's like, oh God, I feel so sorry for you. Like, I'm so glad I don't have to do that anymore. And I was like, honey, your husband's at the club, so relax. But that's a whole other thing. But
Thanks for watching. We've got lots more discussion and debates on everything from food and fashion to pop culture and current events. Don't forget to click like and subscribe.